Emma, I want to divorce you.
All right. Regardless of the reason, I can't live with someone who has cheated. Let's get divorced immediately. I printed the divorce papers from my computer and placed them in front of Tom. Sign these right now. I'll sign them afterward, and we'll file them immediately.
I'm sorry for hurting you, but thank you for understanding. We'll be happy.
As Tom and Alex were about to leave, Alex approached me and whispered in my ear,
Now I can live in luxury. Sorry for taking Tom from you.
After saying that, Alex looked triumphant and left with Tom arm in arm. After all the paperwork was done, Alex stretched and addressed me.
Finally, it's over. Well, it's worth it to be happy with Tom. Good luck with your poor life, Emma.
With a triumphant expression, Alex looked down on me and laughed. When I didn't respond, Tom looked puzzled and interrupted the conversation.
What are you talking about? Poor? What do you mean by that?
What? Because you're a high earner and Emma is a housewife, so she won't have any income now, right?
Hearing Alex's words, Tom burst out laughing.
What are you talking about? We're the ones who'll be living a poor life.
My name is Emma, and I'm a part-time homemaker. My job is very demanding, and I often have to be away from home. The one supporting me through all this is my husband, Tom. Tom takes care of all the housework in my place. He's a full-time stay-at-home husband. Even though we've only been married for 3 months and I often have to be away from home despite being newlyweds, Tom never complains about me not being able to help much with the housework. He always takes care of me when I come home tired from work, and I'm truly grateful to him. We've built our harmonious marriage, but little did we know that this situation was about to change drastically with the arrival of a certain individual. One day, when I got home, Tom started talking to me.
Hey, can I invite my old friend over sometime?
Sure, but that's unusual. You don't often invite people over.
We ran into each other recently and really hit it off. We decided to meet up again, and I wanted to introduce my friend to you, Emma.
Tom explained with a big smile on his face. Seeing him smile made me smile too. All right, thanks for letting me know. I think I can take the next weekend off, so can you arrange it?
Got it. Thanks, Emma.
Tom looked happy and immediately started messaging on his phone. I've hardly ever seen Tom angry or in a bad mood. I love Tom's kind and straightforward nature and his genuine, carefree smile. Tom's old friend is named Alex, and he was free next weekend, so he was coming over. Since Tom thinks so highly of him, he must be a great guy. I was looking forward to meeting Alex too. This weekend, Alex is coming over to our place. Tom has been cooking various dishes since the morning to entertain Alex. Tom's household skills are impressive, especially his cooking. The table is filled with delicious-looking food. I'm sure Alex will enjoy it.
Oh, it looks like Alex is almost here. I'll go get Alex.
Saying that, he left the house to pick Alex up. We live in a high-rise condo with a concierge at the entrance. First-time visitors often get confused, so we always go to meet our guests. I wonder what kind of person he is. As I waited excitedly, I heard the front door open.
Come on in.
Thanks for having me.
Hearing their conversation, I felt a bit puzzled. The voice sounds a bit high for a man. When Alex walked into the living room, I was surprised.
Wow, what an amazing place. It's so luxurious.
Standing before me was a woman looking around the room. "Well, Tom, who is this?"
Let me introduce you. This is my childhood friend, Alex. Alex, this is my wife, Emma.
Nice to meet you. I'm Alex.
"Oh, nice to meet you too." I hurriedly returned the greeting. Since Tom mentioned a childhood friend named Alex, a gender-neutral name, I had assumed a man was coming. Tom could have mentioned she was a woman. Feeling a bit confused, Tom and I decided to welcome Alex. When we led her to the dining table, Alex naturally sat next to Tom. Wouldn't it be normal for me to sit next to Tom? However, Tom didn't seem to mind at all. Since it wasn't a formal seating arrangement, I didn't say anything. Then Alex even moved her chair closer to Tom.
This place is amazing. The furniture is so luxurious and everything looks fantastic.
Isn't it? We can live like this thanks to Emma.
Really? You two seem to support each other a lot.
Alex gazed up at Tom with an admiring look. She didn't glance at me at all, and I just watched them talk. Seeing Alex happily chatting and occasionally touching Tom made me uncomfortable. Tom didn't seem to notice, but it was easy to tell that Alex saw Tom as more than just an old friend. To avoid spoiling the mood, I stayed silent. Then Tom suddenly turned to me and said,
See? Isn't she fun?
He genuinely believed that, with no hint of irony. "Yeah." So I responded with a forced smile. Tom probably didn't realize how I was feeling at the moment. He truly thought I was enjoying myself. Then, for the first time, Alex, who had never spoken to me before, turned to me and said,
I'm really having a great time too. Can I come over again?
Although the corners of her mouth were turned up, her eyes were not smiling. "Yeah, sure." I could only manage a vague response. Seeing me, Tom smiled and said,
I'm so glad you two are getting along.
Since then, Alex has started visiting our house several times a week. At first, she came over on weekends when I was home, but her visits increased. Now she came even when I was away on work. Today, when I got home, I heard Alex's voice. I sighed and walked into the living room. There on the sofa, Tom and Alex were sitting close together, laughing happily. Alex had her arm linked with Tom's. Even when she noticed I had come home, she didn't make any move to separate from him. I was already tired, and seeing that scene drained me even more.
Hi, Emma.
Noticing my return home, Tom greeted me with a smile.
I'll be heading out now.
Without even addressing me, Alex said that and left our house. Was Alex here again? She's been coming over too often lately. I spoke to Tom with a sigh.
Yeah, she has.
Tom replied while preparing dinner.
But Alex recently got divorced and moved back to her parents' house. Everyone else is busy with their work or own families, so she's been feeling lonely.
I understand that, and I do feel sorry for her, but I don't feel comfortable with you two meeting alone when I'm not here. Your interactions are a bit too close. Can you cut back a little? I'm sure Tom doesn't have any ill intentions. He genuinely wants to help his troubled childhood friend. However, I couldn't warm up to Alex, who casually touched Tom in front of me and came over to a married man's house during the day. After hearing my concerns, Tom apologized and promised to reduce the number of times he meets with Alex. For now, I had no choice but to trust Tom's words. However, Alex continued visiting our home. even though she seemed to target times when I was at work, so I never saw her. How did I know she was visiting? Because she left the toilet paper folded in a trifold when she left. Since she had visited our house multiple times, she must have known that neither Tom nor I folded the paper that way. She deliberately left traces of her presence. It was clearly a provocation. Though her visits had decreased, she still came every week, so I spoke to Tom again.
I told her clearly. She said she understood, but then she starts crying in the entrance, saying how hard and sad it is, and I just can't turn her away.
Seeing Tom speak apologetically, I couldn't blame him further, so I just asked him to keep telling her to limit her visits. Tom apologized each time, but the situation never improved. About a month after Alex's first visit, she was still coming over, and I was mentally exhausted. Desperate to stop Alex's visits, I headed to a place I normally wouldn't go alone. That place was Tom's parents' house. I thought there might have been some interaction between their families since they were childhood friends, and I hoped to find a solution there. I rang the doorbell. However, to be honest, I wasn't looking forward to it. There was a reason I usually avoided this place.
Oh, Emma, are you here alone?
It's been a while, Emily. Emily, who opened the door, looked visibly displeased to see me alone. The reason is my mother-in-law, Emily. Emily didn't like me.
So, what brings you here all of a sudden?
Well, I didn't have any particular reason. I just wanted to drop by since I haven't visited in a while.
Seeing you doesn't make me happy. If you were with Tom, I might tolerate it, but spending time with you alone is a waste.
Hearing such blunt words directly was almost refreshing. If I tried to argue back, it would only add fuel to the fire and make her even more unpleasant. The best strategy was to force a smile and let it slide.
You're not cute at all. If only someone like Alex had become my daughter-in-law, we would have had a much better relationship.
I was surprised to hear Alex's name from Emily. If I didn't bring up the topic skillfully, she might become suspicious, so it might have been fortunate that Emily mentioned her first. Emily continued talking, ignoring me.
Alex has always been close to Tom. She often said, "I'm going to marry Tom." And yet, he ended up marrying someone who can't even do housework properly and doesn't care about the family. I'm truly disappointed.
I'm sorry. I know I have many shortcomings. Without making any excuses, I apologized. Still, Emily ignored my words and kept complaining about me.
He should have married Alex.
If Tom ever ends up marrying Alex, Emily would undoubtedly be overjoyed. With these thoughts, I absent-mindedly listened to Emily's complaints. About 2 months after Alex's first visit, she continued to visit our house. By the time I had grown numb to the sight of the trifold toilet paper, it happened.
Emma, I need to talk to you about something important.
Tom, who usually had a cheerful expression, spoke to me with a serious look on his face that day. Sensing the gravity of the situation, I felt a wave of tension. Yeah, what is it?
Are you free this weekend? I want to have a serious talk.
I'm free, but can't we talk now?
No, I'd prefer the weekend. Okay, thanks.
Tom left the living room. What could this important talk be about? I thought we had a good relationship when it was just the two of us. Is this something we need to discuss about Alex? I had a bad feeling. I felt conflicted, wanting to get the talk over with, but also dreading the arrival of the weekend. When the promised weekend arrived, my suspicions were confirmed. Alex was there, looking as if she belonged. Tom started the conversation.
Emma, I want to divorce you.
I had a vague sense this might happen. I thought our marriage might be in trouble, but I still believed he would choose me in the end. We haven't even been married for 6 months, and because of just one woman, it's ending so abruptly. I felt dizzy, as if I had been hit.
I like being relied on. With you busy at work, I felt needed taking care of the house. It made me feel like I was supporting you.
I felt the same way. I believe that we should get rid of the fixed ideas that men have to work outside and women have to do housework. I thought we could support each other by doing what we were good at and what we enjoyed. I thought we could do that together.
But Alex can't do anything. She can't live without me. I need to support her.
Tom genuinely believed that. His desire to help those in need and his urge to be a support for others were sincere. However, I questioned if it was right to abandon his wife to help someone else. When I glanced at Alex, she had her head down but didn't look remorseful at all. Someone who truly felt remorse wouldn't be sitting back on the sofa with her legs crossed. She was probably looking down on me, satisfied that she had finally taken Tom away. This inability to notice such things might be Tom's flaw. I felt ridiculous for taking this so seriously. Tom's nature wouldn't change. Although he might feel some guilt towards me, his actions were driven by his desire to help. Seeing his actions as motivated by a sense of service, I realized that even if I didn't agree to the divorce, he wouldn't sever ties with Alex. Thinking that this would be a lifelong issue as long as I stayed married to Tom, it seemed the quickest solution was to get divorced now. All right, regardless of the reason, I can't live with someone who has cheated. Let's get divorced immediately. I printed the divorce papers from my computer and placed them in front of Tom. Sign these right now. I'll sign them afterward, and we'll file them immediately. Tom looked taken aback by my swift action, but began filling out the papers on the spot.
I'm sorry for hurting you, but thank you for understanding. We'll be happy.
Tom handed me the signed divorce papers. I took them in silence. As Tom and Alex were about to leave, Alex approached me and whispered in my ear,
Now I can live in luxury. Sorry for taking Tom from you.
With that, Alex flashed a triumphant smile, linked arms with Tom, and left. She seemed to have misunderstood something significant, but I had no obligation to correct her now. I decided to handle our divorce through a lawyer and settle things out of court. Since we didn't have children, we mainly needed to discuss the division of assets. Today, Tom, Alex, and I were scheduled to meet at the lawyer's office to discuss matters.
I'll basically agree to your terms, Emma. It's only fair since we hurt you.
Alex voiced her objections with a dissatisfied look. I agreed to give Tom his share of the assets and demanded compensation for the affair from both Tom and Alex. Alex looked displeased at the mention of compensation, but her expression softened when she heard that Tom would pay for both of them. After all the paperwork was done, Alex stretched and addressed me.
Finally, it's over. Well, it's worth it to be happy with Tom. Good luck with your poor life, Emma.
With a triumphant expression, Alex looked down on me and laughed. When I didn't respond, Tom looked puzzled and interrupted the conversation.
What are you talking about? Poor? What do you mean by that?
Well, since you and Emma are divorced, she's going to live a poor life now. I just feel sorry for her.
Why would Emma become poor just because we divorced?
What? Because you're a high earner and Emma is a housewife, so she won't have any income now, right?
Hearing Alex's words, Tom fell silent for a moment. Then, suddenly, he burst out laughing.
What are you talking about? We're the ones who'll be living a poor life.
What?
Alex looked at Tom and me with wide eyes. I chose not to join the conversation. Tom, holding his stomach from laughing, tried to explain.
I told you Emma is a CEO. I never said I was the one working, right?
You did say that, but I thought you were joking. Was that true?
Why would I lie about that? I'm the stay-at-home husband, and Emma's the one who's been working. She's the CEO of that famous Alphabet Corporation.
Hearing the company's name, Alex whipped her head around to look at me.
Alphabet Corporation. That Alphabet Corporation. The one that was on the news with an annual revenue of $1.5 billion. This has to be a joke.
It's an honor to be recognized. Let me formally introduce myself. I'm Emma, the CEO of Alphabet Corporation. I took out my business card and handed it to Alex. She took it slowly, looking stunned. The company name was clearly printed on the card. Alex's hand trembled slightly.
But why? Even Emily said Tom was an elite high earner. How can this be?
Hearing this, Tom looked surprised. I realized that Alex and Emily had been conspiring, but I stayed silent and listened to their conversation.
Why would my mom have that misconception? Emma has talked about it before, right?
Well, Emily said it's impossible for a woman to be the breadwinner. She also said a woman should do all the housework, and that it's disgraceful for a wife not to fulfill her duties. She said all sorts of things.
That's ridiculous. Such outdated thinking is absurd these days.
Sighing, Tom seemed exasperated by Emily's views.
But I chose Alex over Emma. It's not for money. You understand it's for love, right?
While Tom spoke with a smile, looking at Alex, she seemed too stunned to even comprehend what he was saying. So, are we done with the discussion? You agree with the terms, right?
Yeah. This completes the process. I'm sorry for hurting you, Emma. I'll make sure not to get involved with you anymore.
Yes, please do. And make sure to tell Alex and Emily, who are in shock, not to contact me either.
Got it. We'll be going now.
Tom supported Alex, who seemed too weak to walk on her own, and they left the liar's office. To hear that the person she took for money was actually a stay-at-home husband must have been quite a shock. I seriously doubt they'll be able to maintain a good relationship moving forward. However, that's no longer my concern. Finally free from all the trouble, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. One day, after returning to single life and juggling my busy but carefree schedule, my secretary informed me that a woman was causing a commotion at the entrance, demanding to see me. It didn't seem like she was a business associate, and despite attempts to get more information, she kept insisting, "Get Emma." With a sense of foreboding, I instructed my secretary to escort her to the reception room and asked to be present. As I entered the room, I found Alex, as expected. She was breathing heavily and looked desperate. I slightly regretted giving her my business card. "Why did you come to my office? Don't you realize causing a scene at the entrance is disruptive?"
Because I don't have your contact information, and when I tried to go to your house, the concierge wouldn't let me in. I had no other way to talk to you, so I had to come here.
We settled everything during the negotiation. I never wanted to see you again.
I didn't want to come here either.
Alex slammed her hand on the table. My secretary looked annoyed, but I signaled her to stay calm.
Well, yes. I came here to complain to you.
Complain?
Yes, you said you split the assets, but what is that amount? For the CEO of such a major company, you're really stingy.
Alex ranted quickly. She seemed extremely desperate. I'm not stingy. The amount is fair.
Liar.
It's the truth. I didn't think she would back down easily. Though it felt troublesome, I decided to explain the situation. First of all, Tom and I were married for only 6 months. I properly split my income from that period. Since Tom also paid for your compensation, it's only natural that the amount you received is less than expected. Hearing compensation, Alex was taken aback. Tom had paid the compensation for both himself and Alex. She looked frustrated as she understood why a few $10,000 had disappeared.
Still, why can't we live in that high-rise condo? The house and furniture are all marital property, right? It's unfair for you to keep it all to yourself.
As Alex continued to argue, I grew tired of dealing with her. I lowered my gaze and explained calmly, I remember how you looked around the house uncomfortably when you first visited. If I had bought the condo and furniture after marriage, you'd be right. They would be marital property.
What do you mean?
That condo and all the furniture were purchased before I got married. So they're all mine. You don't have any chance of living there. Faced with this stark reality, Alex couldn't hide her shock. She looked devastated and muttered in a barely audible voice.
But I thought that by marrying Tom, I would get all the wealth, the condo, and the luxurious furniture.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but you did get a kind husband who's good at housework. Be satisfied with that.
Yes, that's the problem.
Hearing my words, Alex suddenly raised her voice, snapping back to reality. What do you mean?
Tom tells me to work. He says, I'm suited to being a stay-at-home husband, so you go out and earn, even though I married him thinking I wouldn't have to work and could live comfortably.
If one partner is a stay-at-home spouse, it makes sense for the other to work. Alex is being unreasonable, but I have to admit Tom is partly to blame here. He could be a stay-at-home husband because our life together made it possible. For someone like me who loves to work, a partner like Tom who takes care of the housework is ideal.
I've been living with my parents my whole life and never had a proper job. Right now, I'm juggling multiple part-time jobs, but I can't get a full-time position, so I can't earn a stable income. Tom doesn't get mad, but he says, with my skills, I can make good meals on a tight budget. Let's work on saving money together, which is too annoyingly positive.
True, he does have that annoying trait. Tom's ability to stay positive is one of his strengths, but he was also inconsiderate and sometimes irritated me.
He was saying things like, even if we live a poor life, it's fine as long as we're together. I'm confident I can cook different meals every day so you won't get bored. I felt good thinking you would be the one struggling with a poor life. If it's like this, I shouldn't have married Tom. I don't want him anymore. You can have him back.
In the end, she's frustrated because she can't live the luxurious life she imagined. Forced into a poor lifestyle with a nice but ineffective husband. Because she's only thinking of herself, she's getting what she deserves. Maybe she couldn't feel better without taking it out on me and blaming me, even though it was all her own fault. But none of that mattered. I don't care about your feelings, and for whatever reason, I don't need a man who cheated. Is that all? If so, you can leave now." As soon as she said that, the secretary promptly called security guards without waiting for Alex's response and had her escorted out. I could hear her yelling in the hallway, but the sound gradually faded away. Feeling reassured by the secretary's instructions to the security guards to turn Alex away if she showed up again, I sighed deeply. I was done with all the trouble. Since then, there had been no more incidents involving Alex, and I was peacefully focused on my work. One day, after finishing work without having to do any overtime, I was about to leave the office when someone suddenly grabbed my arm. I was too shocked to speak, and when I looked, I saw Emily glaring at me with an angry expression.
So, you finally decided to come out. I've been waiting for hours, and you never showed up. How dare you not let me into the house and turn me away like that? What kind of nerve do you have?
Following Alex's incident, now Emily was here. I had forgotten there was one more troublesome person. The thought of her waiting for me all this time revealed an unsettling obsession that sent a chill down my spine. Not wanting to show my fear, I responded firmly. "Tom and I are divorced, so we are no longer related. There's no reason to let unrelated people into my home. I've informed the building staff not to let anyone in unless I authorize it."
How insolent you are. You should respect your elders.
Emily screamed in a shrill, piercing voice I had never heard before. It was ear-piercing and extremely unpleasant. If you were someone worthy of respect, of course I would. But there's nothing respectable about you. So, what do you want ambushing me like this?
Ambushing? That sounds so nasty. I came here because I have something important to tell you.
I didn't ask you to come. I wanted to run away from Emily right then and there, but I knew it would be a hassle if she ambushed me again. I had no desire to see her repeatedly, so I decided to listen to her and end everything today.
Why didn't you tell me Tom wasn't working? Because of your deception, I'm in this mess.
I told you many times that I was working and Tom was taking care of the home. Every time, you called me a liar or ignored me. That's on you. She had misunderstood on her own, yet she blamed everything on me.
Then you should have tried harder to make me understand. I moved in with him thinking I would live a luxurious life, but the house isn't a high-rise condo, and we're living in poverty every day. I can't take it anymore.
So you were after money too. Just like Alex, you rely on other people's money and then suffer for it.
Shut up. Everything I'm going through is your fault. You should pay for my living expenses forever.
That's ridiculous. There's no way that's happening. Besides, isn't Mark supposed to be working? Even if Tom and Alex are unreliable, you should be able to get by for now. Tom's dad, Mark, was still around, but he had been living away for work for many years and rarely came home. However, he visited a few times a year and was always kind to me. Dealing with Emily's nagging was a hassle, but thanks to Mark, I could tolerate visiting their house.
That's because
Emily responded hesitantly.
when Mark came back the other day, he found out the real reason for Tom's remarriage to Alex, and he divorced me. I got kicked out of the house, so I moved in with Tom and Alex.
It's only natural that Mark would ask questions if he came back after a long time to find his son's wife replaced by another woman. Knowing Emily, she probably badmouthed me and made Mark feel uncomfortable.
But even after separating from Mark, I thought I could live a luxurious life with Tom's money, so I cut ties with Mark. Now I can't rely on him anymore.
I'm truly amazed. Mark was a considerate man who treated me kindly. If you had responded to his feelings, he would have helped you. But this is your own doing for neglecting those around you. I will not help you. Emily, who had been somewhat subdued, turned angry again when I firmly refused to assist her.
How cruel! You heartless person! I'm begging you, and this is how you respond.
I don't care what you say. If you continue causing a scene, I'll call the police. It's disruptive to have such commotion in front of my company. The mention of the police made Emily turn pale. She bit her lip in frustration, but left without saying another word. Her shoulders slumped as she walked away, carrying the weight of despair on her back. This part I heard from my lawyer. Apparently, Tom, Alex, and Emily are still living together. Tom wanted to remain a stay-at-home husband, but he realized that Alex and Emily couldn't earn enough to support the three of them, so he had to start job hunting. However, having not worked for months without any valid reason like medical treatment or caregiving, Tom could only find a job at a low-paying company. In the end, Tom's salary wasn't enough to make ends meet, so Alex and Emily also had to take up part-time jobs to scrape by. When Tom used to take care of all the housework, the house was spotless, and homemade meals were always on the table. But now, with everyone busy working, the house is in disarray. Meals are mostly takeout, and arguments have become more frequent. As for me, I was living a leisurely life. I hired house cleaners to keep my home spotless, and there were plenty of delicious options for food delivery or dining out. Also, I didn't dislike cooking. I just hadn't had the time for it. Occasionally, cooking for a change of pace wasn't bad. I was enjoying my carefree single life. As for my job, the new company I started dealing with was where Mark worked, and I met him again.
Emma, I'm truly sorry. Because of that fool Emily and Tom, you were hurt. No amount of apologies is enough.
Mark apologized to me, but he wasn't at fault for anything that happened. Please don't apologize. We may no longer be in-laws, but I'd be happy if we could still maintain a good relationship. Mark smiled a little.
Thank you.
For now, I was done with romance. I decided to fully dedicate myself to my work.